टॉपिक रखा आज का रावण के ऊपर, और मैं आपसे ये ऐसा 2 प्रश्न क्यों पूछ लिया? तो लेट मी explain the context here. So if we closely get into the example of that अगरबत्ती and the dead rat, तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि हमारे अंदर जितनी गुडनेस है, जितनी स्ट्रेंथ है, जितनी खूबियां हैं, वो सब तो हो गया अगरबत्ती।
करेक्ट।
और एक मनुष्य का जो वीकनेस है वो हो गया डेड रैट। तो आपके पास भले ही बहुत सारी खूबियां हो, बहुत सारे स्ट्रेंथ्स हो, टू मेनी स्ट्रेंथ भी है, तो भी जो है एक वीकनेस आपके सारे स्ट्रेंथ को जो है कि ना के बराबर कर देगा। What am I doing? Whom am I exchanging my thoughts with on frequent and dynamic basis? Am I exchanging my thoughts only with those who talk good and right for me? And even for that sake, if they have to speak something which I don't like, am I still okay with that? Am I allowing that to happen? Or am I only surrounded by the chaplus, the way Ravan had, who only spoke what Ravan likes? Is that the kind of people whom I want? I want only people who speak only what I like, or am I surrounded by people who speak what is good and right for me? Okay.
Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel Spiritual Talk with Titi. Today I am gonna discuss with Karthik Sundararajan, IITian and IT professional, and I trust that you all know him because we did many talks in our channel earlier as well. कार्तिक, सबसे पहले मैं आपका एक बार फिर हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं
जय श्री राम।
जय श्री राम चैनल पर। तो व्यूअर्स, आज का हमारा जो टॉपिक है वो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आज का कार्तिक के साथ डिस्कशन बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग और इंसाइटफुल होने वाला है। बिफोर आई स्टार्ट दिस टॉक विद कार्तिक, आई हैव वन रिक्वेस्ट टू व्यूअर्स. Please subscribe our channel and support us because we are trying to build a great spiritual community. हमारी कोशिश है कि हम अपने जीवन के उन हर पलों को, पहलुओं को, उन पर बात करें जिनसे हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट होती हैं, जिनका सॉल्यूशन हम ढूंढ रहे होते हैं। और ऐसे फोरम पर, ऐसे टॉक के थ्रू मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि आप लोगों को उसके थोड़ा बहुत आंसर हम दे पाते हैं। बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो अपने जीवन में बहुत सफल हैं और स्पिरिचुअलिटी को समझते हैं, इसमें अपना थोड़ा बहुत ज्ञान रखते हैं। तो हमारी कोशिश है कि हम उन लोगों को इस चैनल पर लेकर आएं और उनकी जो जर्नी है, स्पिरिचुअल जर्नी है, उनका जो एक्सपीरियंस है, उनकी जो लर्निंग है, वो आप तक पहुंचाने की कोशिश करते हैं ये टॉक शो के थ्रू, जिससे कि कहीं ना कहीं आप उसका थोड़ा बहुत फायदा आपको मिल सके। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है और टॉपिक है हु इज द रावणा इन आवर लाइफ। सो आई वुड लाइक टू आस्क कार्तिक, ये जो टॉपिक है इट इज वेरी appearing very strange to me, of course, and very interesting as well. Can you help to understand this topic to me and my viewers?
Thank you, Tribhuvan ji. So, even before I explain the topic, मैं आपके सामने 2 क्वेश्चन रखना चाहता हूँ। पहला, if I have 100 अगरबत्ती in my house and I also have a dead rat in the house, what will I experience? Will I experience the अगरबत्ती और उसकी खुशबू, या डेड रैट या उसका दुर्गंध?
ऑब्वियसली जो है वो जो रैट है उसकी जो दुर्गंध है वही, चाहे जितना मर्जी आप अगरबत्ती जला लें।
फैंटास्टिक। सो आज इन फ्रंट ऑफ मी इफ आई हैव 100 अगरबत्ती, अगर उसमें 1000 बना दूं तो भी डेड रैट का ही स्मेल आएगा।
एब्सोल्युटली।
तो उसका सॉल्यूशन क्या है? सॉल्यूशन यही है कि डेड रैट को उठाओ और उसको घर के बाहर फेंक दो, उसके बाद अगरबत्ती के स्मेल को एंजॉय करो। Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
अब मेरा अगला प्रश्न ये है कि एक मनुष्य के बॉडी को हेल्दी होने के लिए उसके जितने वाइटल ऑर्गन्स है, जैसे लिवर हो गया, हार्ट हो गया, किडनी हो गया, लंग्स हो गया, ब्रेन हो गया, इसमें से कितने ऑर्गन को हेल्दी होना चाहिए, जब हेल्दी होगा तो हम कह सकते हैं कि वो मनुष्य हेल्दी है। आप कहेंगे कि सारे ऑर्गन्स को हेल्दी होना चाहिए?
ऑफ कोर्स।
अगर मैं यही प्रश्न को अगर मैं उल्टा करके पूछूं कि कितने ऑर्गन को ओके बैड फंक्शन करना चाहिए, तो मैं कहूंगा कि हेल्थ हैज गॉन बैड। आप कहोगे केवल एक ऑर्गन भी अगर बैड फंक्शन बैड करता है,
करेक्ट,
you will say health has gone bad. Do you agree?
यस यस, एब्सोल्युटली।
अब आप लोग ये सोच रहे होंगे कि मैंने जो है टॉपिक रखा आज का रावण के ऊपर, और मैं आपसे ये ऐसा दो प्रश्न क्यों पूछ लिया, तो लेट मी explain the context here. So if we closely get into the example of that अगरबत्ती and the dead rat, तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि हमारे अंदर जितनी गुडनेस है, जितनी स्ट्रेंथ है, जितनी खूबियां है, वो सब तो हो गया अगरबत्ती।
करेक्ट।
और एक मनुष्य का जो वीकनेस है वो हो गया डेड रैट। तो आपके पास भले ही बहुत सारी खूबियां हो, बहुत सारे स्ट्रेंथ्स हो, टू मैनी स्ट्रेंथ भी है, तो भी जो है एक वीकनेस आपके सारे स्ट्रेंथ को जो है कि ना के बराबर कर देगा। It will actually make that meaningless, make that worthless. So my point is, what is that dead rat which prevents us from experiencing the agarbatti? What is that weakness which is preventing one from experiencing the all the strength which one has in one's life? अगर हम यही कॉन्टेक्स्ट को हम रामायण में लेके जाएं, तो we all will agree on one thing, that Ravana was the most powerful person in the entire story, even more powerful than Ram. Okay, somebody who had all the power, जिसके बलबूते पर he had challenged ब्रह्मा और महेश को चैलेंज किया था। ऐसा व्यक्ति उसके पास जो है, जिसे हम दिग्विजय कहते हैं, that person, in spite of having all the power, but when it came to the fight between Ram and Ravan, सारे पावर उसको जो है बिट्रे कर गया, सारे पावर उसको बिट्रे कर गया, और उसने जो है रावण को, ओके, in spite of having all the strength, ओके, रावण के सारे पावर उसको बिट्रे कर गया। तो what we are doing is, we are taking this opportunity to understand in Ravan's life, what was that weakness, what was that dead rat जिसने रावण की सारे स्ट्रेंथ को मीनिंगलेस बना दिया था। एंड उस कहानी से what can we take as a learning from ourselves?
ग्रेट। तो बहुत बढ़िया, अभी मुझे समझ में आ गया हम क्या सिग्निफाई करना चाह रहे हैं। So moving to the next question, now that we have established the direction and outcome of our discussion centered around the life of Ravana, can we understand the dead rats in the life of Ravana? What was that?
Sure. So if we look at the life of Ravan, there were fundamentally two dead rats, okay, and we are only focusing on those two dead rats, okay. And before we continue further in this discussion, let me also give a disclaimer here, okay. इस पूरे discussion में we are not giving any commentary on Ramayana, because there are many experts who have come in the past and have done the research and presented that research on Ramayana to people, and there are many people who are working on that, and
Correct.
we are not intending to get into that domain.
Absolutely.
What we are doing is, we are just picking few incidents from the life of Ravana, and we are just using that to figure out what can we learn from that particular those incidents, and how can we use that learning in our life. So let us look at the mistake of Ravana. The one of his mistake, which I also call as dead rat, was his love towards his key relationship blinded him from his mistakes, and he became a part of their mistake. This was no different from Dhritarashtra in Mahabharata, who had blinded himself from every wrongdoing of Duryodhana. Same was the situation of Ravan here.
Hmm.
So you want to understand how? Let's look into रामायण का स्टोरी में थोड़ा डीप डाइव करते हैं.
Hmm.
फर्स्ट थिंग इज राम, लक्ष्मण, सीता ये तीनों जो है वनवास में है. एंड in that vanvas, Sita gets kidnapped. And before Sita gets kidnapped, okay, there was no reason for Ram and Ravan to cross each other's life.
Correct.
And if that had not happened, the entire war of Ramayana would not have happened. So let us look at that particular incident. Surpanakha, who was Ravan's sister, okay, is roaming around the jungle. She sees Ram and gets attracted to Ram. She goes and proposes to Ram, and Ram rejects her proposal, telling that I am already married, I have Sita in my life, and I have no reason to think of any woman. So if you want, you can approach Lakshman, who has come alone. Surpanakha goes and approaches Lakshman. Lakshman says, my primary responsibility is to do seva to my Ram and Sita, who are my bhaiya and bhabhi. Okay. And therefore, I have no interest in you. Surpanakha perceived that it is because of this lady called Sita, because of which Ram has rejected and Lakshman has also rejected. So immediately she felt, let me attack this lady. He goes and attacks Sita, and in the process, Lakshman cuts her nose. This entire incident, she went and reported to Ravana. And if she reports the incident in the complete truth, then what will happen? Ravan will perceive Surpanakha, it was Surpanakha's mistake. So Surpanakha twisted the entire story, and what she said, she spotted a beautiful woman in the jungle, and she wanted to get that lady to Ravan's palace. There were two men who was there who refused, and in the process cut her nose, and therefore I want you to take revenge on those two people. Ravan, in spite of being such a powerful person, became foolish over here by not even trying to do any validation of what happened, why it happened. 360-degree review karna chahiye. He didn't do that. He simply blindly took whatever statement was put across by Surpanakha. She just trusted that, and he planned the entire revenge. At that point of time, Ravan, there were close people in the circle of Ravan like Vibhishan, Mandodari, all those people who felt that this pure incident mein there is something which Surpanakha might have done a mistake, which you have not yet looked into. So you have to do a 360-degree investigation and then only plan your action. Okay, that was the version given by Mandodari and Vibhishan and few people who were Ravan's well-wishers. There were many other people who wanted to just pamper Ravan's ego. So they said, okay, if you have decided to take revenge, you should go and take revenge. We are with you. And they just pampered you. So what I want you to know is that what is it that was happened? This is what happened in Ravan's life, which actually led to Ravan's destruction. So the moral is, in the sway of emotion, intelligence doesn't work. And in that particular situation, any decision you make eventually will lead you to, to eventually regret that decision. This is what happened in Ravan's life. And this is what we believe was the dead rat. And what was the cause of the dead rat? His love for his loved ones was so blind that he did not even bother to look into what is good and right. Instead, what he was only bothered is, if something has gone wrong in their life, he has to take revenge.
Correct. So, Karthik, I think you greatly explain, and I trust this is very relevant to our daily life when we made the decision, right? Without doing any cause and fact, we should not arrive at any decision. And if still we made any decision which is where we are not considering use our intellect and to have a proper cause and fact, and that time, of course, our emotion will be on, if our emotions are in very high pitch, and of course that time if you are taking any decision, it will lead the wrong decision. So of course,
Exactly.
so in here the point is people should use their intellect to do the cause and facts and then take their decisions. Good. So moving to the next question, Karthik, from this mistake, what we have uh, learned and learning, what is the implementation value in our personal and professional life? I mean, if you can
Fantastic.
relate that with the real scenario.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the if you take in all our key relationship, both in personal life as well as in professional life, we need to understand what is our primary responsibility. Our primary responsibility is to look at the well-being of our loved one. So if they are good and right, we need to encourage them. And if they are wrong and bad, we need to correct them and we need to show them what is right. And for that, if we have to do anything which the other person doesn't like, we
Hmm.
need to understand one thing. Just because it is good and right for the other person, I will still go ahead and do it even if it is not liked by the other person, which is this is the first implementation.
Hmm.
And there is a second implementation. Second implementation, which also has a uh, great value in one's personal life. When I say personal life, it also applies to the professional life as well. So if I look at my own human, as a human being, if I look at myself, I am a combination of five personalities. First is the body, which is the physical personality.
Hmm.
Second is the mental personality, which is the mind. Third is the intellectual personality. Fourth is the emotional personality. And the fifth one is the spiritual personality. And this learning has implementation on all the five domains.
Hmm.
So let us look at all the five domains, okay, on one by one and see how this entire thing is working and how this can be worked on. First is, let us look at the physical level. Okay, when I talk about the body, this body in turn has five aspects. First is for its well-being. Okay, the first is the diet, what sort of food I eat. Second, what I do for the fitness, which is the exercise part of it. Third, what is it that I do to detox this particular body? How
Hmm.
do I clean the body from inside? Then de-stressing. What do I do to clean my mind? Okay. And fifth one, what do I do? What practices I follow so that I can take care of my energy levels, which is enabling me to carry myself towards my goals. So
Hmm.
let us look at the implementation on all these avenues. Okay. So first, what dietary patterns am I following? Am I for what sort of food am I eating? Am I going by what is good and right for me and my body? Or am I blinded by what taste I like the most?
Hmm.
Next, what am I doing to keep my body fit and healthy? Okay, like, am I doing what is good and right? Okay, am I investing enough time to play with the body so that all the bodily parameters like my strength, my stamina, my flexibility, my blood pressure, sugar levels, fat levels, all of them stay at the right level? Or am I pampering my body at the cost of my health? For me, to pull my body out of the bed and invest 1 hour of time to do any kind of things like walking, running, jogging, yoga, anything, it's
Hmm.
definitely more painful compared to just leaving the body 1 hour of extra sleep. But that 1 hour of extra sleep will eventually, okay, make my body suffer later in life. While 1 hour of exercise every day will ensure my body will actually delay my body from any health issue. So
Hmm.
what am I doing over here? Am I doing what is good and right, or am I getting blinded by like Ravana towards my own self, that I will put myself, am I pampering myself at the cost of my health? Next thing, what am I doing to detox or de-stress myself? For example, there is a garbage truck which comes to the house every day, okay, takes all the backlog of garbage from the house as well as the street and takes away. Because that garbage is taken away, the backlog is taken away, the entire place is at least healthy. If that doesn't happen, then what will happen? The garbage will keep piling up, piling up, piling up, and eventually the entire locality will become sick. The same thing is applicable for the human body. What are we doing as a preventive maintenance to clean the body from inside? हमने जो है रोज we eat something good, we eat something healthy, we eat something tasty. We are keep on dumping our food inside, which is definitely okay. The need for the body. At the same time, it also leaves a lot of garbage inside. What are we doing to clean that? Okay. Next, am I investing time to detox my body, or am I only blinded by the craving of my taste that I'm ignoring that and keep on dumping the body, okay, and making this a garbage bin? Let me also talk about our mind. Okay, every day we get so many sensory inputs into our head. What are we doing to clean our mind? We all say sleeping. Okay, sleeping. What sleeping does? Sleeping pacifies the sensory inputs, but whatever inputs have gone inside, that input stays inside and it keeps, okay, it keeps draining us of the energy. What are we doing to clean the body from the already overloaded sensory inputs? And moreover, on top of all these things, even when we say sleep pacifies the sensory input, we are not doing complete justice to sleep as well, because even sleep is intruded by the mobile. Okay. Even in the midnight, we just wake up just to see koi message to nahi aaya WhatsApp mein, and then we put it back and then go back to sleep. So even there, we are not doing complete justice to sleep. On this scenario also, we are behaving like the Ravana. My liking for what I like. I like sleeping, I like eating, I like watching mobiles, all that. Okay, I am so focused upon that I am blinded towards my need to clean the mind and clean the body. Okay, next, what am I doing? Whom am I exchanging my thoughts with on frequent and dynamic basis? Am I exchanging my thoughts only with those who talk good and right for me? And even for that sake, if they have to speak something which I don't like, am I still okay with that? Am I allowing that to happen? Or am I only surrounded by the chaplus, the way Ravan had, who only spoke what Ravan likes? Is that the kind of people whom I want? I want only people who speak only what I like, or am I surrounded by people who speak what is good and right for me? Okay. Even that makes a huge difference. So that is also something which I need to ask myself, whom am I surrounding with?
Yeah, absolutely. True.
Then last but not the least, what spiritual practices do I follow? Is it in congruence with the purpose I want to achieve, or am I just blinded by the fanatic attachment which I have towards the practices which my parents were following, my grandparents were following, my ancestors were following, that I follow that blindly without even validating whether that is relevant for my life? Am I following that properly? Am I achieving the purpose for which I am following? Kuch bhi nahi pucha. Am I asking all that, validating, and then following that process? Or am I just following for the heck of following just because my parents followed, my ancestors followed? If I'm doing that, then this is no different from Ravana's approach, which is Ravana's inability to question Surpanaka's action and the intention, okay, which is the trap which I am highlighting over here, so that we have to audit ourselves to check, am I sitting in the same trap which Ravana was sitting, or have I pulled myself out of the trap?
करेक्ट, एब्सोल्युटली. सो एक बात मुझे यहाँ पर ध्यान आ रही है कार्तिक, कि ये बात बिल्कुल सही है हम अपने रियल सिनेरियो में भी देखते हैं, चाहे वो हमारी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ है, चाहे पर्सनल लाइफ है, हमारे हमारे आसपास जो लोग होते हैं या जो सबसे ज्यादा हमसे क्लोज होते हैं या जिनसे हम बातें करते हैं या जिनके साथ हम चीजें शेयर करते हैं और एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि वो हमें कुछ इसमें बताएं, कुछ समझाएं या कुछ करें, उसमें ज्यादातर लोग ऐसे होते हैं जो आपको, वाकई में ये पॉइंट जो आपने बोला कि दे आर ट्राइंग टू प्लीज यू, वो रादर देन टू टेलिंग योर मिस्टेक्स या वो बताते नहीं है, वो रियल सिनेरियो में ऐसा ही है। तो किसी ने ये कहा है और जो मुझे भी कई बार फील होता है कि आपके पास कुछ ऐसे लोग होने चाहिए जो, पहली बात, आपको कोई जो होता है ना कि जजमेंट पास करना, आपके एक्शनों पर जजमेंट पास करना, वो लोग आपको, ऐसे लोग कभी भी सही राय दे नहीं सकते हैं जो विदाउट पासिंग एनी जजमेंट विद यू। और आप चाहे गलत करो सही करो, आपकी सक्सेस हो फेलियर हो, हर वक्त आपके साथ खड़े रहने चाहिए। ये आपके रिलेटिव हो सकते हैं, ये आपके दोस्त हो सकते हैं, ये आपके प्रोफेशनल लाइफ के आपके लोग हो सकते हैं, कोई भी हो सकता है। तो मेरे ख्याल से ये लोग हर एक की जिंदगी में होने चाहिए जो विदाउट जजिंग यू, गिविंग यू द राइट फीडबैक, भैया ये सही है या ये गलत है। तो आई फुल्ली एग्री विद दैट जो आपने बताया। और मेरे ख्याल से डिस्कशन का क्रैक भी यही है कि अच्छे लोगों का आपके साथ होना, जो आपको अच्छे से, मेरा मतलब ये नहीं है कि आपको हर चीज गुडी गुडी बताएं, जो एक्चुअल चीज है चाहे वो गलत है या सही है, वो आपको पॉइंट करें। So very good. Moving to the next question, Karthik. Having spoken about the first dead rat of one should not get blindly by one's love towards what we followed in the past as well as towards our loved ones, that we forget what is good and right, जो हमने रावण के लाइफ में देखा। So we also understand how this can be applied in our life in multiple aspect of it. Can we understand what the other dead rats in our life?
Yeah, good question, Tribhuvan. So if you actually look at Ravan, he had immaculate power, जिसके बारे में आप पहले ही बता चुके हैं, and everybody will agree with that particular stuff. He had so much power that he had won Devatas and made Devatas surrender in front of him. He had also conquered, okay, Trilok Vijayi, Digvijay, ऐसा title वो already he had obtained. And now, with that particular thing, there was a story running inside Ravana's head. And that story is, wherever I had gone, I had won. Okay. मैं जहां भी गया हूं वहां मैं विजयी हो गया है. That was a story running inside Ravana's head. Now, we have spoken about Surpanakha coming and telling Ravan and Ravan planning to kidnap Sita. Now Ravan goes and actually kidnaps Sita and brings her to Lanka. Now, after Sita comes to Lanka, Ravan wants Sita to surrender to him. But Sita, Ravan को surrender करने तैयार ही नहीं थी. There was no, Sita just said, I am not going to surrender to you and come what may. And रावण के दिमाग में अब जो है स्टोरी ने नया मोड़ ले लिया. The story became, having won at all these places, अभी मैंने सीता के ऊपर, I have to win over Sita. अगर मैंने ऐसा नहीं किया तो the title of Digvijay is meaningless. If I am Digvijay, I have to win with Sita also. Now, this particular thing, in fact, रावण का जो बारे में एक और चीज which Ravan used to always say, एकम अहम द्वितीयो नास्ति न भूतो न भविष्यति. न आज से पहले रावण जैसा कोई आया है, न आज के बाद रावण जैसा कोई आएगा. ऐसा दिग्विजय जो आज से पहले आया था, ऐसा दिग्विजय आज के बाद आएगा. That was what was running inside Ravan's head. So he had made desperate in every possible way to win over Sita. And with every failure with Ravan was encountering with Sita, the story was becoming even more intense. And he was actually, that particular story blinded him to such an extent that ek ke baad ek, he started sacrificing his son. He sacrificed his first son, then second son. Karte karte, he was ready to sacrifice all the 7 sons. He had sacrificed his grandson. He had sacrificed his brother. He had sacrificed all the key armed forces which he had, the army which Ravana had, which made him, okay, which made the entire Trilok, okay, dread Ravana, the entire army he was ready to sacrifice. Okay. Actually, if we look at, step back and look at, there was no reason for Ravana to win over Sita. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था. Okay. So if we look at this particular step, okay, if we compare this particular thing which Ravana had with our life, what we will see is all of us have a story running inside our head, which is actually acting as a speed breaker in our progress. This story can be anything. It can be a self-imposed limitation which we have got, any past failure, any inferiority complex, hatred which I have towards somebody, any prejudice which I have. All these form a story, run inside our head and become the dead rat of our life.
True. Well said. बड़ी खूबसूरत बात कही आपने कि इंसान की ये फिक्रत ही होती है कि जिंदगी में अगर वो पास्ट में कोई कार्य करता है और उसमें फेल हो जाता है तो वो आगे कोई भी स्टेप लेने में डरता है, जबकि हमें चाहिए ये कि अपनी जो पुराने फेलियर हैं उनसे कुछ सीख करके हमें अपने डर से डरना नहीं चाहिए और उनसे सीख करके हमें फिर आगे बढ़ना चाहिए. तो बड़ी खूबसूरत तरीके से आपने इसको एक्सप्लेन करा. तो बढ़ते हैं अपने नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ. So next question is Karthik, having understood the second dead rat of what is the story running in my head, how can one identify what that story running in one's head and how does one can get rid of it?
Fantastic, Dhruva. So to get rid of the dead rat, okay, or the story running inside my head, I need to first understand what that story is. Okay, that means मुझे सबसे पहले पता करना है कि where that dead rat is, तभी जाके मैं जाके उस dead rat को उठा के बाहर फेंक सकता हूँ. Okay, so for that one has to sit back and do introspection. This is easier said than done. Okay, for that one needs to put substantial investment of undivided time and energy. For that, one needs to definitely have an alone time, the time when I am only with myself, okay, with absolutely no intrusion from family, with no intrusion from technology. If possible, go away from home, preferably sit in an unfamiliar environment, okay, like a hill station, forest, कहीं भी और कुछ नहीं तो कोई distance garden में चले जाइए, stay alone, away from family, away from technology, sit for a long time, for a substantially long time, sit, run through the one's past life, okay, immediate past life, and figure out what is it that is acting as a speed breaker, okay, which is blocking my progress from where I was to where I want to be. If one cannot do it by oneself, then one can take the help of a higher intelligence like a guru or an external counsel. Okay, अगर हम इसी चीज को अगर हम ले जाए महाभारत में, तो what we will see is during the Kurukshetra war, okay, Arjuna at one point of time became completely despondent. In the beginning of the war, Arjuna became completely despondent. He did not know what to do. At that point of time, he did not choose to live with the confusion. Instead, what he did, he went and sat with Krishna, which is the higher intelligence, and he shared all his confusion with Krishna. When Arjun went and shared all his confusion with Krishna, he took all the confusion from Arjun and gave him thought clarity. Okay, same situation, agar if one does, okay, one steps back, thinks, what is that story running inside my head? अगर आप खुद either you are trying to understand it yourself, खुद पता कर सकते हो. If you are not able to do it yourself, go and sit with somebody of higher intelligence. Okay, somebody of higher intelligence. It can be either in your professional world or somebody in your personal world whom you look up to, or sit with a Guruji. Sit there and share all your confusion with that person. Let that person give you clarity, and with that clarity, you can move forward in life.
करेक्ट. सो कार्तिक, बहुत खूबसूरत बात है ये, और जो आपने बताई, घूम फिर के वही पर जो हम पहले भी बात कर रहे हैं ऊपर डिस्कशन में, कि जहाँ पर इंसान, देखिए, कुछ ना कुछ सोच और समझ हर इंसान के अंदर होती है प्रैक्टिकली, बट होता यह है कि जब आपकी खुद की इंटेलिजेंस फेल हो जाए कोई डिसीजन लेने में, या जो है आपको रास्ता नजर ना आए, तो महाभारत का आपने उदाहरण दिया. ऑफकोर्स अर्जुन का जो पूरा गीता का सार है वो है ही यही कि उसको जब वो ऐसे दोराहे पर खड़ा हो गया जहां पर उसके सामने जो है ये समस्या आ गई कि भाई एक तरफ उसका परिवार है और अधर्म की तरफ है, वो अलग बात है, उसे लड़ना चाहिए या नहीं लड़ना चाहिए, तो बहुत सारे जिंदगी के जो उलझने उसके सामने आई, वो उसने सरेंडर कर दिया श्री कृष्ण के चरणों में, और कृष्ण भगवान ने उसको जो उपदेश दिए और जो समझाया, तो उसके बाद जो वो समझा तो उसे समझ में आया कि उसे क्या करना चाहिए. तो ये बात बिल्कुल सही है कि हमारे पास ये प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए, ऐसे लोगों का साथ होना चाहिए हमारी जिंदगी में, जो हम पहले भी बात कर रहे थे. कुछ ऐसे लोग होने चाहिए जो जिनके साथ एटलीस्ट हम उस वक्त में, जब हमारी खुद की समझ जो है हमें आगे बढ़ने के लिए समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, तो हमें किसी न किसी की मदद लेनी चाहिए. बट प्रैक्टिकली कार्तिक, यही प्रॉब्लम है हमारी जिंदगियों में. आज आप बताओ, जितने लोग जो है साइकोलॉजिकली प्रॉब्लम में रहते हैं, उनको ये पता भी नहीं होता है कि दे आर उनको जो है साइकोलॉजिकली प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, और दे नेवर अप्रोच. और कम से कम भारत में तो मैं ये कहता हूं कि अब तो फिर भी लोगों की अवेयरनेस हो गई है कि जो है आपका साइकोलॉजिकली भी कितना इम्पैक्ट होता है, और लोग जाके काउंसलिंग करते हैं डॉक्टर से. लेकिन फिर भी आज भी आप देखोगे कि लोग ये प्रॉब्लम समझने में इतने मतलब सक्षम नहीं है कि इनको कैसे हैंडल करना है. तो 100% हमें ये मेथड्स लेनी चाहिए, लोगों काउंसलरों के पास जाना चाहिए, या हमारे साथ ऐसे लोग होने चाहिए जो हमें सही तरीके से गाइड करें. आई फुल्ली एडमिट विद दैट. Having said that, I am moving to the next question, Karthik. Now that we have understood the dead rats in our life, let's get back to the topic on who is the Ravana in our life.
Fantastic. We have brought this to the point where we are explaining the topic itself. Okay, so we have, in fact, in one of the earlier discussions we spoken, okay, the power of the man is the power of his mind. That means the mind of the man is the man himself. So when I have a dead rat in my head, okay, that is the enemy towards my peace as well as my progress. So this dead rat is what I am referring to as the Ravana of my life. Okay, Ravan के भी अंदर जो dead rat थे, that dead rat became the cause of his destruction. So if I have a dead rat in my head, it's as good as I have Ravan in my head. So that is what I'm talking about. Okay, that what is that dead rat? Okay, so what is the cause of the dead rat? If we look at what is the cause of the dead rat, what we'll find is this dead rat is self-created. मैंने खुद बनाया है. Okay, therefore I am the Ravan of my life. And if I am the Ravan of my life, what is the solution? The first thing is I have to accept that I have a dead rat in my mind, and that dead rat is the enemy towards my peace and my progress. Now, having accepted it, I don't want this to become a passive acceptance. ठीक है, आ गया, अब क्या करना है? No. Instead, what I want to say is take complete responsibility for it. I need to work on myself, and I need to get rid of that from my life. And I need to understand, because it is I have created it, I am the only person who can destroy that. And once I get rid of that particular Ravan from my life, that will become the true victory of my life, which is what I call as my self-mastery. This is not a one-time activity. Instead, it's a periodic activity. something similar to the way we do bathing every day, we do brushing every day. Similarly, this also needs to be done on a periodic basis. Okay. And one needs to carry out this introspection frequently, because the dead rat will keep visiting one's mind frequently, and this will become the Ravana of one's life. So only by one's awareness one can identify when the Ravana is getting into the head and work towards getting rid of it. I need to understand my life is my responsibility. And if I have to take responsibility for that, I need to achieve self-mastery. And I can achieve that self-mastery by taking complete responsibility towards it and identifying the dead rat and getting rid of the dead rats completely. That is what will become the true victory in my life.
Absolutely. तो मुझे जो पूरी बात से समझ आया, हम बिल्कुल लगभग समाप्ति की तरफ हैं, और अंत में जो पूरी बात का सार ये है पूरे इस डिस्कशन का, जो मैं समझ पाया हूं व्यूअर्स, कि हमारा मन और हमारे मन में आने वाले विचारों का हमारी जिंदगी में बहुत महत्व है। इन chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna described in detail about the importance of controlling the mind. He tells Arjuna that by controlling the mind, he can attain complete perfection in life. He makes it clear that without mind control, no one can attain peace and bliss in life. तो इसी विचार के साथ व्यूअर्स मैं आपको छोड़े जाता हूं, और उम्मीद करता हूं कि आपको स्पिरिचुअल टॉक विद टीटी चैनल पर आज की कार्तिक के साथ ये वार्ता अच्छी लगी होगी, और आपके जीवन में कहीं ना कहीं इसका फायदा पहुंचेगा। और मैं अंत में एक अपील करना चाहता हूं कि हमें आपकी फीडबैक बहुत जरूरी है। फीडबैक इसलिए जरूरी है कि जैसा कि हम इस चैनल पर कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि स्पिरिचुअल पर्सनालिटीज को लाया जाए, डे टू डे लाइफ की प्रॉब्लमों को डिस्कस करा जाए, जिससे कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को बेनिफिट हो सके। तो आपकी फीडबैक ज़रूरी है। वो फीडबैक आप कमेंट के तौर पे दे सकते हैं, क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं, और आगे आप कैसा देखना चाहते हैं, क्या देखना चाहते हैं, क्या ऐसी कुछ ज्वलंत समस्याएं हैं आपके जीवन में भी जिनसे आप गेट रिड ऑफ होना चाहते हैं या डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं। I would like most welcome to you. Send us the questions and we will take it up and we will do the session around that. Apart from that, what we are planning, हम अपने हिसाब से जो सोच के प्लान करके टॉक शो करते हैं वो तो हम करते रहेंगे, बट उसके अलावा आपको जो है इस तरह के सजेशन हमें देते रहने चाहिए। तो थैंक यू कार्तिक, गिविंग मी टुडे योर टाइम, एंड वी विल अगेन सेट अप अनदर टॉक विद यू इन अनदर रियल लाइफ इश्यूज। तब तक अपना व्यूअर्स अपना ध्यान रखें, ख्याल रखें, स्वस्थ रहें, मस्त रहें। नमस्कार।